Blake production.
What's poppin'? So I'm gonna go over a weekly ticker breakdown, covering some stocks I did on Sunday, because it's been a few days. There's been some decent price action. So we'll start off with Nvda here. Now my buddy Pat asked a good question. He asked me, how can you identify good areas to take profits? Now, that's a decently easy thing to do when you're looking just from a technical perspective, but the best way to do this is when you incorporate what I'm about to show you into your trading plan. Like, it really matters what your entry is and what your plan for the trade is. Is it going to be like an hourly trade? Is it going to be a daily swing, right? So those things have a big effect on where you want to take profits in a chart. So anyways, we'll get into it. Nvidia here. So for me, what I use, right, just simply supply and demand zones. Where are we? So down here was a demand zone, right? So now we're looking for a supply. Now there was one in this range, and we're just going to mark out wherever there was some sort of confluence on the chart. So right around here, we got a few areas. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can mark out right up here, this area. Right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this could be an area where Nvidia is going to now stall for a bit, because if you look at this weekly chart, right, big push here. So we're going to look at the 8 EMA, right? It might want to go sideways for a bit, let the 8 EMA catch up, or even make a higher low simply on the weekly time frame, which would then have us come back into this range. But then again, another way to do this, right, you could just zoom in closer to the chart so you get an easier idea of where to see these certain areas. Like right now, when we look at this 4 hour, it's clear that this area has had some resistance in it. So honestly, these are the 3 levels I would mark out for on this Nvidia chart if we're looking to take gains, or if we're looking at where could this stock potentially go in the next coming days. We might want to see it slow down a bit because it is on a nice little tear right now. The bulls don't want to see it slow down, but buyers want to, people who are standing on the outside wanted to buy in, definitely wanted to slow down a bit. So that's Nvidia there. LEV, the Lion Electric Company. So it's looking like this inverse head and shoulders is starting to shape up. We got a nice bull flag coming in right here from the lows. You can't keep this out of sight right now. In my opinion, if we break up above this upper trend line of this flag part here, it's a go mode, because we've got this nice push, clean sideways consolidation. They've been trying to push the price down, but it's still getting bought up, and there's low bear volume here. So if we see a breakout here with a nice pickup in volume, that's something that is clean for us. So we'll be trying to hop into this one or catch a trade on that if that happens. If not, we want to see it continue to play out in this range, kind of getting closer and closer to this supply zone that we have up here. Remember, we want to weaken this area, and then we want to break up over it, creating the right shoulder of this inverse head and shoulders pattern. So LEV is looking mint right now. Now we've got LI, the American Lithium Corporation. Huge 45% bounce off the lows. And what we got here is somewhat of a bull flag shaping up, but to me it's starting to look like this range is starting to act as the resistance, so we're starting to slow down a bit. Now there's no major increase in bear volume, so that's kind of a sign that's good for us in the bull case, right? But we want to be aware, because of that 45% increase, we might want to create some sort of higher low when we zoom out, right? And we go into like the weekly time frame before we get that next push up. But overall, everything's looking good. Above resistance, 445. That's a zone we want to look at. Right around here, we've had some confluence. And if anything, if things go sour, the market takes a turn because of bad news, who knows what goes on, right? We want to use this area over here as potential support if we do come back that far. But overall, LI is looking solid too. Wndr, when we're looking at this Wndr chart here, we want to see this resistance here kind of break above it. How are we going to break above this resistance? Well, it looks like there's an increase in bear volume. We might need to create some sort of a higher low. So again, some of these charts move up quick. Like if we catch from 1 to 154, that's 41% trade. It's a pretty solid bounce. So we might need to see some sort of a higher low in this range before we get that next like up, weaken this zone a bit, and then we go. So that's what I'd be looking for in this name, something along the lines of this. It might be a little bit shorter, but overall that's the major thing we're looking for, because it looks like this is the zone we now want to pay attention to, 145 to like 155. Sklz, this one, whew, I like this a lot. We're starting to get that nice double bottom pattern here, especially look at the weekly. Few bottoms here. Now we have a clean push right up to fill this gap. We fill it perfectly, and now we're using this area as demand. We have a morning star candlestick pattern here on an uptick in volume. Again, we want to weaken this area a little bit. It could take some time, or we might just get that answer right away where we're starting to push up. I think that this one is such a low key name right now, and the fact that it used to be trading at like almost $30 and above, okay, it was at $45 and now it's trading at $3.45. Like there's huge upside in this name, man. Like that's why I want to go over this. I think it's a sleeper. Manage your risk, right? Again, I'm pointing out these stocks, but I'm not saying like, oh, it's going to go straight back to 45. Manage risk wherever you enter. Like right now, if I'm looking at this play, I'm thinking along the lines of something like this, holding this higher low area, and you're risking around 15%, but the upside is way higher, right? So you could hold this long term even, forget the fact that we need some sort of risk management, and just put in a comfortable amount of money that you're willing to completely lose, whether that's 500, 1,000, 2,500, 5K, right? Because overall, we're at the very bottom of a range. Tech names are starting to pick up. Now, if a bunch of other things start turning around in the market, good news starts coming out, and then everyone starts hopping in, there's not really going to be a need to manage your risk as a okay, it sounds crazy. You should always manage risk, but if you see what I'm saying, like you don't have to think about it so hard and go all in looking for a perfect risk to reward opportunity. You could honestly let it ride and have these names like reap a long-term play and a long-term swing in there, because who knows if this comes back up to 8 or 12, this is a massive trade for those people, right? Especially at these levels. So again, when we look at the weekly time frame, big uptick in bull volume. The bear volume, right, is just dying away. So that's something we want to pay attention to. We love that. So Sklz, man, I'm going to be covering this one a lot this year. Mmed, this one, man, it's slow. But we're going to need, oh, did they beat earnings? Surprise 11% beat. So it looks interesting, right? Because right now we're fizzling around these levels. In my opinion, if you're interested in psychedelics and how they're going to affect people in terms of like a medicinal way, this is one of the bigger names you could invest in. So long term, I'm thinking it might be a better play. But when we're looking at this pattern here, we want something to answer right away. So I'll be keeping up with it. Right now, 155, we need to break up over 155. So I'm marking that zone right here. That's major if we want to see some more momentum to the upside. Pltr. Now, come on, boy. Bull flag. Breakout. We want to see continuation. Big pickup in volume too. Now, if the volume continues to increase, we're going to expect this name to go on some sort of a run. And as you can see, again, inverse head and shoulders, it's a popular pattern in the market right now. You don't want to sleep on the inverse head and shoulders. This name, right, has had hype in the past. Who knows, if I don't really know too much about the company fundamentals, but if it is looking good, then this is the opportunity here for it to come maybe back up into this $17 range to $20 range, right? So I'd be looking around here, something like this. Looks like a zone we might want to float up back to before we get some, you know, resistance. Yeah, that's perfect. This could be acting as a magnet right now, and you might see this happen real quick. So you don't want to jump in up here because this is a resistance area, depending on how we get up there. But this is what I'm looking at. Inverse head and shoulders. This is our supply zone right here. So this area. If we could do something like this, creating higher lows into that range, I'd be mad bullish. Right? We break it down and we go, whoo, boy, that would look nice. Giving a lot of people opportunity to get in to catch this trade. But overall, PLTR at these prices is, right now it looks good. We want to see this continue for the bulls. The uptrend, if we zoom in, right? Higher highs and higher lows. We love that shit. We love it. So Sofi, we ended up getting a solid day on Sofi. Big uptick in volume, up 9.6% on the day. Creating that clean bull flag pattern again, right? It's a clean pattern. Everybody should know this pattern, especially if you're a investor trader in the markets that's doing it dynamically, like frequently. You have to know this pattern. We push up, sideways consolidation, and then we get that breakout on volume. So you could expect something to go on here. I'm wondering, are we going to get the breakout of this descending channel? If so, that would kind of indicate to me there could be a longer term play in this. So you might want to potentially swing this for a little bit longer than a few days here. Because if we break out of this long term descending channel, it would give me an indication that we might want to tackle this $14 to $15 range. So Sofi, man, don't sleep on it. That's the breakdown. Peace.